The school hallway buzzed with chatter, sneakers squeaked against the polished floors, and locker doors slammed shut like percussion in a chaotic orchestra. But in the middle of it all, Miss Aiko Tanaka stood still, unnoticed, like a shadow that moved quietly through the noise. She was the new teacher, barely 26, petite, with almond-shaped eyes that seemed to hold more history than her age allowed. She carried a leather-bound planner tucked under her arm and always walked with her head slightly bowed, as if trying not to take up space. She had only been teaching at Westbridge High for 2 weeks, and already rumors swirled around her like a toxic fog. Did you hear she barely speaks English? No way she's gonna last through the semester. Probably got her job through some favor. She's way too quiet to be a real teacher. But what hurt the most wasn't the gossip. It was the laughter. The kind that echoed behind her as she walked away. The kind that mocked her silence, her heritage, her kindness. She didn't retaliate. She didn't complain. She simply smiled, nodded politely, and carried on with her work. Until that morning. It was just before the first bell. Miss Tanaka was at her locker in the staff hallway, quietly putting away a stack of graded papers, when a loud thud startled her. 3 seniors, Jake, Ryder, and Vanessa, stormed down the corridor like they owned it. Jake was tall and broad-shouldered, always smirking like he had a secret. Ryder trailed behind him, copying everything Jake did, and Vanessa, the ringleader. With her high ponytail and venom-dripping sarcasm, she ruled the school with a perfectly manicured fist. "Hey, look," Vanessa sneered. "It's the mouse pretending to be a teacher." Miss Tanaka froze, clutching her binder tighter. "Good morning," she said softly, offering a respectful bow. It only made them laugh harder. Jake walked up and slammed her locker door shut. "Why are you even here?" he asked mockingly. "No one understands a word you say. Maybe you should go back to wherever you came from." Ryder added with a sneer, "Yeah, this is America, lady. Speak up or get out." Miss Tanaka's hands trembled, but she said nothing. Then, with no warning, Vanessa reached forward and ripped the front of Miss Tanaka's shirt. The fabric tore with a sickening sound, exposing her camisole beneath. The hallway seemed to go dead silent for a second. Miss Tanaka gasped and stumbled back, her eyes wide with shock and humiliation. "Oops," Vanessa said sweetly. "Clumsy me." The 3 laughed like it was the funniest thing in the world. But what none of them noticed was the shift in Miss Tanaka's stance. Her shoulders straightened, her breathing slowed, and her eyes, those gentle, misty eyes, darkened with a calm that was somehow terrifying. "Enough," she whispered. Jake raised an eyebrow. "What did you say?" Miss Tanaka stepped forward. "I said, that's enough." Ryder rolled his eyes and made a lunge toward her, mock threatening. "What are you gonna do? Meditate us to death?" What happened next was a blur. With the grace of a dancer and the speed of a striking cobra, Miss Tanaka grabbed Ryder's wrist, twisted, and flipped him over her shoulder. He landed flat on his back with a thunderous thud, his breath whooshing out in a stunned gasp. Before Jake could react, she stepped toward him, pivoted on one foot, and executed a flawless judo shoulder throw. Ippon Seoi Naj. He landed beside Ryder, groaning. Vanessa shrieked and took a step back, but Miss Tanaka didn't move. She simply stared, her torn shirt fluttering slightly with her controlled breathing. "I did not come here to fight," she said quietly. "I came to teach. But if you think my kindness is weakness, you're very mistaken." Vanessa's mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. Then she turned on her heel and bolted, heels clicking frantically down the hallway. By then, other students and teachers had gathered, wide-eyed and silent. Someone had captured the entire thing on their phone. Ryder groaned on the floor. What was that?" "Judo," Miss Tanaka replied, crouching beside him. "The art of using your opponent's strength against them. You should be grateful I only used the basics." Word spread like wildfire. Within an hour, the video had gone viral on campus. By lunch, it had reached YouTube. By the end of the day, national news outlets were reaching out to the school for interviews. But Miss Tanaka didn't care about the attention. She didn't gloat. She didn't scold. She didn't press charges, even when the school offered to expel the students involved. Instead, she asked to speak with them privately. Jake, Ryder, and Vanessa sat stiffly in the principal's office, bruised in body and ego. Miss Tanaka walked in, dressed in a fresh blouse, holding 3 small teacups. "Sit," she said simply. They obeyed. She poured them tea. Not a word passed between them for a moment. Then she said, "In Japan, when we dishonor someone, we offer tea as a gesture of humility. I offer you this, not because I'm weak, but because I forgive you." They stared at her in disbelief. "You don't have to like me," she continued, "but you will learn from me. About literature, about discipline, about respect, especially respect." Jake's voice cracked. "Why didn't you tell anyone about what we did?" She looked at him. "Because I don't believe in humiliation as a teaching tool, but I do believe in consequences. You 3 will join my after-school martial arts program, every day, 1 hour. No excuses." Ryder blinked. "You're serious?" "Dead serious." And so they did. At first, they resisted. They mocked the katas, rolled their eyes at the bowing, and complained about the workouts. But Miss Tanaka was patient, firm and unwavering. Weeks passed. Jake stopped slouching. Ryder learned focus. Vanessa, who had never known quiet strength, started practicing meditation outside of class. The transformation was slow, but real. They started helping clean up after school. They spoke more gently. They no longer ruled the school with fear, but with example. And Miss Tanaka, she became more than just a teacher. She became a legend. Not because she could throw a bully across the hallway, but because she taught the power of restraint, the strength of humility, and the beauty of standing tall without shouting. Her students learned something no textbook could teach, that the quietest person in the room is often the strongest. And by the end of the semester, Jake, Ryder, and Vanessa, now model students, stood beside her at the school talent show, performing a synchronized martial arts demonstration that brought the audience to its feet. Miss Tanaka smiled softly as she watched them bow to the crowd. No words were needed. Her lesson had been learned.